Hey guys, what's up? Alright. It's Double Deuce back with another video on how to make your HG-P407 full-time four-wheel drive. If anybody knows who has one of these things, it's only four-wheel drive in first gear. Now, me and another follower here that we had talked about this before, I think it's XLR8 is his YouTube name, and we had talked about the possibility of making these four-wheel drive full-time. And so the idea we come up with was tear your tranny apart, okay, remove this rear bearing driven cog here, okay, because basically all this does is when this slides back, this thing does nothing but just turn, okay? And with the bearings inside it here, it just rotates on the shaft. When you bring it back into first gear all the way, it locks the keyway over top of this hex right here. So remove the E-clip and remove this gear and set it off to the side. Okay, we don't need this no more. We're all set with that. Now what I did is I went to buy basically an 8622 Robinson Racing 22 tooth pinion, and as you can see, 32 pitch. Now I think this is the I think this is the DP, but if you get the 8722, the 8622, they'll both work. Now, what you have to do is, you got to get a little creative with this. Here's what I did, okay, because the gear is just a little too wide to set in there and put the cover back on it. Try to keep your pinion pin, your keyway. See how close I ground that down? Actually, I got a little bit too into it, but it still works. Because I didn't know what the thickness was. I didn't have the tranny with me when I ground it down. Here's how I did it. Okay, get a drill bit, put the pinion on the drill bit. Okay, now the proper way to do this is to get your other pinion you just took out and kind of measure how wide it is. Okay, measure it how thick the thing will be, and then just put this in a drill backwards like this and tighten your pinion up. And I just took a grinder, like a body shop air grinder, and just turned the drill on and just ground this down. And then I had my tranny apart, and I don't know if you can see in there quite. Let me bring this as close as I can to the camera. You see that little flat spot I ground? Right there, just behind the hex. It's a tiny little flat spot. That's for that pinion to seat in. Make sure it's deep enough to try to recess your set screw, your grub screw here, so it recesses down enough that it will not affect the keyway in here, the highest point. What I did was you grind it on a high point. That way there it gives you a little extra room if the keyway sticks up just a little, or the grub screw sticks up just a little bit. So I got that in. Now what you do, take this. Now you got it all ground down. You eliminate the other two pieces. You put that in there, seat it in, tighten it up, put your tranny back together. Now you'll have first, second, and third gear. And it'll be four-wheel drive first, second, and third instead of just first. So another thing to do is when you do this, it's going to put a tremendous strain on this can motor that they give you. Okay, I used to know the specs of this motor. It's great for what it's put on there for, but now you're straining it. So I would get myself like a 20 turn up to a 55 turn RC four-wheel drive can motor. They're made for crawling. they're made for the extra torque. If you can't afford one and you're crafty, on the back side here, these motors have timing. Okay, you see it's set in the middle. Now if you set it down one, it's going to slow the motor down. I can't remember which way it goes now. If you set it to another one, either one, up, it's going to speed the motor up, and the other one's going to slow it down. When it slows it down, it gives it a little bit more power, but that's about it. It's not going to take the abuse of heavy loads. Okay, so now you're all done. You can put your cover back on your tranny. Everything will fit. The reason I say grind it down was because it was just a little too wide to fit. Now, if you see, I'm not putting the E-clip back on the back because I've got this locked in now, so it ain't moving. Okay, and plus you want to keep as much gear width as you can, and being that these gears are kind of soft, you know, that are in these here, this is a hardened gear, so the only wear you're going to have on this setup here would be your idler gear in here, which you can replace that too if you need to down the road, which is not a big deal. But anyway, any questions, comments, hit me up. This is a simple way to make your HG-P407 all-time four-wheel drive. That's my video. Like, share, subscribe if you want. Have a good one. Adios.